a single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed.
Divinity Original Sin 2 dominated my weekend after its release. As I prepared to leave the opening area of Fort Joy behind me, I made a save and closed the game for the night. It was only after I noticed that my eyes were on fire and the playtime figure popped up on my Steam dashboard had it dawned on me just how much the game had grabbed me. The sheer density of adventures and stories, along with quirky side quests, bizarre errands, and long conversations with dogs, had kept me firmly locked into the first area of the game for a whole 12 hours. So I wrote that last week, and now I have 59 hours played of the game, so that either means the game is really good, or I have no life, or a combination of both. It has been a long time since an RPG held me in such a bear hug of strange tales and quirky distractions, but Divinity Original Sin 2 is so dense with alluring stories and odd encounters that I couldn't stop myself exploring every inch of that first area. So I want to share with you some of the reasons why Divinity Original Sin 2 has grabbed me so hard, and why it might be one of my favourite RPGs of all time. Divinity Original Sin 2 harkens back to the old school RPGs like Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights, but has also captured the feeling of playing a true pen and paper RPG like Dungeons & Dragons. It's been a while since I've sat down with a bag of dice, and there's never been a digital experience that has made me feel those same sensations. For me, an RPG is all about options. I want to be spoiled with possibilities, to solve problems with diplomacy or murder my way out of them if needed. And I want to talk to other players and have them tell me about solutions I hadn't even thought of. Divinity Original Sin 2 offers all that, and more. A small example is when I came across a group of hostile sourcehounds. Now, most of the time when you're playing a game and you find a group of dogs baring teeth and going for your throat, you'll draw your sword and just feel bad about it later. But in this moment, I wanted to see how creative Divinity Original Sin 2 allowed me to be. First try, the dog charged at me and were met with fireballs and fury. Loading a save and returning for a second attempt later, I discovered a thread that led me to meeting one of the dog's mates on a beach. The worried, sand-covered pup expressing concern for his beloved. Name-dropping Buddy avoided bloodshed between my party and the pooches. But combat and conversation aren't your only options. At a later stage of my adventure, I came across a red ball that smelled slightly of dog's breath. With this item, the previously bloodthirsty hounds were distracted by something red and squeaky, and you can progress without murdering the 4 canines. Now that's 3 options that I know of just to deal with a confrontation with some dogs. It's a distraction, a side quest, an optional objective. Now I'm not even taking in consideration teleporting, persuading, or sneaking past my problems. Now, take all that possibility and all those options and put them in a main quest. Now, I'm especially glad that all of this is being presented to the player through actual spoken aloud dialogue. Yes, even the dogs. I love you. Something that Larian nearly didn't add to the game, but I'm so glad that they went that extra mile. That was to record over 1 million words of dialogue to make their world feel more alive. This might seem like a fairly minor thing for an RPG to have, but many games allow the written word to be enough. But in Divinity Original Sin 2, every NPC feels fleshed out, living, dynamic. They feel unique and engaging, and add a further layer to a world that I've loved getting lost in. The added benefit of presenting the characters and the universe in a way that can appeal to people like me, an RPG player who can find reading reams of text irksome 5 hours into a binge session. The voice that you'll be hearing most of all is that of the narrator, the unnamed figure that tells the tale of your character directly to the player. If you think about the dialogue systems in games like Skyrim or Mass Effect, most of your choices are written down sentences you assume your character reads aloud after the push of a button. Yet in Divinity, many of your options are presented as if you were telling your dungeon master the intentions of your next action. There's added emotion, body language, and intention written into the conversation choices.
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
But the change in tone and direction of the writing made me feel like I was more adventurer than player. It's injection of personality that allows you to project your own values and feelings onto what's being said and done, instead of a static line that you can just imagine being repeated.
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Imagine reading a book, but the story is both about you and your character all at once. As the story develops, so does your character, and as a direct result, that changes how your character is perceived by the world around you. When you first create your character, you'll be given tags matching your race and gender, and are then given the option to add more to allow you to mold a background for your adventurer. Those actions will give you more tags that suit the style of your character you're building as your exploits and renown become more widely known. So to give you an example, the character I'm playing as at the moment is a female lizard. so obviously the world perceives me as a female lizard, which can make for some interesting moments when you take into account that gender and race bias exists in the world of Divinity Original Sin 2. I've had characters refuse to talk to me because I was a reptile, or other lizards treat me with more patience because of my origin. Because I took the soldier and outlaw tags, I had unique opportunities to communicate with similar characters in the world. After I earned the hero tag by being a bit of a goody two-shoes, certain NPCs would treat me as one, with both the positives and negatives that come with that. It reminds me of when 3Dog would talk about the exploits of the Vault Dweller in Fallout 3. I would always be so excited to see if the quest I completed would trigger a little newsreel, but in Divinity Original Sin 2, it feels like the whole world is doing that, not just the radio presenter. The amount that Divinity Original Sin 2 seems to celebrate you as much as it does your character, as well as giving you a unique world that you can explore in your own unique way, is a reason why I lost a whole weekend to it, and why it continues to dominate my free time. Larian have very much built a world for you, the player, in the same way that a dungeon master might build a campaign for their adventurers. You can get as much or as little out of it as you'd like, but it evolves around you. It revolves around you. And through the small touches, it feels like it's yours. And for a game that's had such passion surround it, and was born out of a huge success story from the fan support via Kickstarter, I don't think there's a better way to please the Divinity community. It's full of those wonderful little moments that you can talk about with your friends, and it's been a long time since I felt so enraptured by an RPG like this. But I would love to know what you think. If you've been playing yourself or are just interested in the game, please let me know what you think in the comments or on Twitter, and I'll try to respond to as many as I can. Also, I want to hear the fun names that your character has. Mine is a female lizard called Mandasala. I really hope someone out there gets that joke. If you liked the video, then please give that like button a wee squeeze, and if you want to see more cool stuff like this, then make sure you subscribe. We have a beginner's guide up right now that you can check out if you're just getting into this admittedly tricky game. So until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.